Hello everyone, it's Miss M back with another video. Today we're learning about 3D shapes and shading. We're learning about this artist here, Robert Delaunay. Robert Delaunay was a French artist with his wife, Sonia Delaunay, and others co-founded Orthism. The Orthism movement was noted for its strong use of colors and geometry. Delaunay was born April 12th, 1885 in Paris, France, and he died October 25th, 1941 in Montpellier, France. Orthism was an abstract cubist influenced painting style developed by Robert and Sonia around 1912, and you can see in his work we see lots of colors. It's very flat, it is very two-dimensional, but he primarily focused on the colors and composition, so were everything laid out, and he really focused on types of symmetry, and we'll talk more about that next week as well. 2D versus 3D shapes. In 2D and 3D, the D specifies the dimensions involved in the shape. So the primary difference between 2D and 3D shapes is that 2D shapes are comprised of two dimensions that are length and width. As for 3D shapes, they are length, width, and height. And here we're primarily looking at the difference between our 2D and 3D shape pairing. So if we have a circle, it's a sphere. If we have a square, it's a cube. And when we have a triangle, it will be our cone for today, but it as well could be a pyramid, which is that combination of our square and our triangles together. And here we're getting to see our length, width, and height set up in our cube. And so then we're going to talk about shading as well. In shading, we'll have a light source. So we can see here our light source is coming in from our left-hand side. And all of our shading is then going to fall on our right-hand side. All right, and our I can statements for this week are: I can learn how to draw 3D shapes. I can learn about Robert Delaunay and his work. And I can tell the difference between 2D and 3D shapes, which I know we all can, so great job, guys. All right, and the standard that we're focusing on today is standard number 5. So as we get started, this is probably what our finishing products are going to look like. They'll look like some variation of this. We're going to have 3 different shapes. We'll have our sphere, our cone, and of course our cube. So the first thing that we're going to want to start off with, we're going to want to start off with 3 sheets of our colored paper. It could be any 3 colors. All right. So you need your 3 sheets, something to draw with, glue. You'll need your scissors, and you'll also need your black and white crayon. It could be a color pencil. Mine broke, unfortunately. That's okay. So make sure to have those 2 colors. All right. So the first thing that we're going to be starting off with, we're going to be choosing which color we want for our background. And the color I want for my background, I want this blue color. I'm going to set it up just like this. I'm going to want my blue color. And I'm also going to choose another half or another piece of paper that I'm going to want for my bottom half. The half that's going to represent my ground and the half that's going to represent my horizon line. I'm going to choose yellow. That's the color I want. And since it's only going to be half of my paper, I only need half of this paper. So what we're going to do, we're going to fold it in half, hamburger style. Make sure it's really nice and folded. There you go. It's half of my paper now. It's going to be half blue, half yellow. So after you have it folded, there you go. It'll look something like this. Half yellow, half blue. And so what we're going to do, we're going to take our piece of paper, and along that line we just made, we're going to cut it. So take your scissors. We're going to cut that bad boy right in the middle. There you go. Ta-da! You're also going to glue it. And the other half, do not throw it away. Keep it for next week. We'll need the other half next week. So keep it in your art kits. Keep it put away somewhere. We're going to want to keep it. After you cut it out, we're going to glue this piece of paper down. Make sure to keep that other half for next week. We're going to need it. And then here you are, making sure it's nice and stable. Ta-da! There you go. I have my background with my little horizon line down. Next, we're going to want to take our 3rd color. This is where we're going to be drawing all of our shapes. I'm going to zoom in a little here. The first shape that we're going to be drawing is our circle. And we're going to later turn that into our sphere. And remember, we're going to want these pretty big. We're not going to want these teeny tiny. So here I am drawing my circle. I could have drawn my circle a little bigger, but that's okay. We want them nice and big. We don't want them teeny tiny. Our next shape will be our cone, and it'll start off just like our regular triangle does. It will be 2 diagonal lines touching each other. So that's one diagonal line. That's my second diagonal line. And to connect it, we're going to want a curved line. Not a straight line. It is a curved line. All right. So we have our circle, we have our cone. Next is our cube. Our cube is a little difficult to draw, so we're going to start off with a square. Remember, a square has 4 equal sides. Make it as equal as you can. It's okay if you mess up. Mine's a little messed up. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go from this corner right here, this corner, and we're going to draw a diagonal line. Just like that. A nice diagonal line. Not a straight line, a diagonal line. From that diagonal line, we'll draw a straight line. There you go. And notice how I didn't go all the way to the end of that square. I want it to be about halfway. There we go. And what we're going to do, we're going to connect that into another diagonal line, just like we did on the other side. Ta-da! So now we're going to fill in our other half. I'm going to give it a nice little straight line. Not as long as that one. But now we have to connect those 2 lines together. And we'll be with a diagonal. You can tell I messed up a little bit. That's okay. If you messed up too, we all make mistakes. That's okay. I kind of redrew it a little bit. Remember, if it's a little too difficult, pause, watch it again, slow me down. It's okay. It's the video, and we have that opportunity. So after you get them, we're going to want to cut these out. So after they're drawn exactly the way you want them, cut them out. These are mine cut out. Ta-da! I'm super fast at this. So after you have them cut out, this is where you're going to glue them down where you want to. You can have them up in the sky. You can have them here. You can have them there. I like to have one in my foreground, one in my midground, and one in my background. And yours don't have to be in the same order as mine. You can have them anywhere. You can have them closer together, but just go ahead and make sure that they're in a place where you want them to be. After they're in that place, you're going to glue them down. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to finally add all that shading in. All right. Mine are all nice and secured. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be taking my white, and on the right hand side of all of my little shapes, I'm going to be adding a highlight. So you can see I'm just tracing out that little angle that we had on our cone. I'm going to do the same thing on my circle. It's not going to be a straight line, it's going to be a curved line. We're following the curve of our sphere. Just like that. I make my colors nice and solid. On our square, I'm just taking this straight edge right here. I'm going to be taking this other straight edge right here and this little line. So I'm basically just drawing or redrawing that diagonal on those 2 straight lines. Ta-da! And of course, yours never has to look like mine. That's always okay. All I ever want you guys to do is try your personal best. And for the shading, we're doing the same thing with the black, but on the opposite side. So you can see, I kind of just traced it out. On the circle, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to trace out the other side. I go over it a couple of times. It's not a thin line, it's a little thicker. My favorite one to do is the square because I get to color in all this side. So you can see, kind of just outlined it, and then I'm just coloring it in. And after we have all of our shading in on our shapes, what we're going to do, we're going to be able to put shading on our shapes itself. So you can see I drew like a little oval facing towards the left side, and I'm just going to color that in. Just like that. And for this one, we're not going to draw the shading on the sky. We're not going to do that. We're going to want to make sure that shading is on the ground right here. So you can see that I'm going to draw a little, like a little oval on the ground for my little circle that's up in the sky. I'm going to color that in. And now it kind of gives it this really cool illusion that it's floating up in the air. All right. And our last one is our square. And I'm going to draw these two lines going the opposite way. And I'm just going to color all that in. I don't want it straight out. I want it going that way. So we have to make sure all our shadows are facing the same way. Because if we have all of our shadows facing the left and one's facing the right, that doesn't make too much sense. All our shadows need to make sure they're following the same direction. There we go. And you're more than welcome to add more shapes. That's how it looks like when your circle's on the ground. But yeah, you guys are more than welcome to draw more shapes. You can see them up closer. And it's not too fancy. But when you look at it from far away, these look super great. It looks like we put in a lot of work. It looks like we put in tons of time shading these. So great job, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.